Hi, I'm Renee Richel, the founder and president of One True Match. I'm here to help you find and cultivate the love of your life. For over a decade, I've dedicated my life to the importance, purpose, and dynamic of human relationships. My team and I are disciplined by faith, love, and integrity to help our clients find the quality relationship they've always dreamt of. Each week, I will be sharing the tools and tips I've learned that have rooted my success as a matchmaker with other leaders around the world. Hello, loves. Welcome back for another fun chat that I am here to talk with Connie, who is always willing to chat. And we're so excited about actually bringing on some additional speakers and hosts and things like that. But we are going to talk about a series that we're going to get started on today. And we're going to talk about life goals, because I think it's so important when we also talk about, attracting love, relationships, and things that are big topics that come to us all the time. So we appreciate it when you guys write in and say, oh, let's talk about this because this is on my mind. And so today we are actually going to talk about kids.
Yeah.
Whether you want them or maybe you don't, or maybe you're on the fence, or maybe you have them, or maybe you're thinking about a blended family, or maybe your kids are empty nesters, or maybe they're teenagers and driving you nuts and you really just don't know what to do. So we're going to talk about today. I think it's so important. And we're speaking from, she kind of does not have children. We hope someday. I do have a 4-year-old. So I feel like I've raised a bunch of teenagers through my journey of experiences, and I probably relate better to my teenagers in some regards than a toddler. But we also listen to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people's stories coming from all different avenues of the biological clock, the fear of, are we getting too old? Can we have children? Do we want children? Are we past that point of time? Are you okay with somebody that already has children? Do you want somebody, even though you had children, and absolutely don't want kids at all?
Yeah. And
so that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. And a lot of our clients that come to us and, that's a huge topic of conversation. And even if it isn't to them, we're going to bring up children no matter what. Like we said, whether you want them, whether you don't want them. If you've been married and you're divorced, what does someone else's kids look like to you? Like I hate to say it, but when you talk about kids, it's never just a simple answer. Because even if you are never been married, have children, want children, you still then have to agree on a number, on an amount of children. Or, we have clients that have 6 children, and then some clients that definitely don't want any more than 1 child, And so there's that huge variety of what a family looks like to you. And
then some people say they want to have 5 or 6 kids, and who knows, maybe God's plan is that it's not meant to have children, and you're meant to help other people with at the end of the day, God is in complete control of children. However, I was always told that God also created the people to help individuals who have challenges going through trying to have children. And so, the point that I think is so important to really think about when it comes to kids, because we've had people that have even come to us and, they're, what they feel are getting past their biological clock and are like, with or without somebody, I want a child, I'm going to have a child. And then they are also left with, okay, so now you're going to date are you going to date somebody that only has children? Because obviously if you have a child, you have to have somebody that likes children, or not.
Yeah.
And so traditionally, obviously, as a Christian matchmaking company, the number one goal outside of thinking about children, and I'm pausing for a minute for everybody to write this down, is it's so important that you choose the right mate. Because without the love of 2 amazing parents, a child doesn't want to be put in a situation that isn't with the right partner, and then they have to go through the toxicity of parents not working out. So in studies and researches, years and years that I've done this, is like, when is the best time, unfortunately, if you are in the wrong relationship, to, break apart a mom and dad for a child's sake going forward. And the reason why I like talking about this, unfortunately, but it just is reality.
It's reality, right? There's things that happen in life, just like we said in podcasts before. There's a high divorce rate.
50%, which is terrible. That's why we're so passionate about what we do, is to get people into the right relationships with the right people so that we can have healthy relationships for our children going forward. Is that so many times people will wait. And it's a generation thing, which there's studies and research to say this, like my parents' generation, the majority were not divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say more of like the 50 to 60-year-old parents, kind of, they were told, hang out in a marriage, in a relationship until the children are out of the house.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are promoting all people to stay married with the right person to work on a relationship, but sometimes they're with the wrong person because we did what we thought was the right thing, not knowing, and then we stay in it, which is definitely not the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you know long term it's not going to work out. And yes, trust me, I am one of knowing that, like, dividing up a family when you obviously want to have your child full time is so important. But also the reality of it is a child to see true love is the most valuable piece of gift you can ever give somebody.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I'm so passionate about like the teenage market is because so many of those kids unfortunately have witnessed parents that have stayed married unhealthily, that they have no idea how to have the communication skills of how to actually witness and see a healthy marriage and relationship today.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't agree more. And when it comes to that, like you said, so many people will stay, and we absolutely want every couple relationship to be together forever, unless, broken otherwise. But that's an important thing when bringing children into the either conversation or already into your lives, is that you are going to have this amazing relationship that's going to grow, and you're going to nurture one another, and then also nurture your children, that your children have a great role model to look up to. And everyone's family looks very different, whether if you couldn't have children and you go down a different path, or there's so many avenues of having children nowadays that you can do, but also to make sure that that you have a safe home and a happy home, and like Renee said, a relationship to look up to, whether that's both parents being in the house, or that just a very inspiring love to look up to and to guide them towards.
And I think that, and if you're somebody that, maybe you've passed that time or prime, whatever you want to call it, of now realizing it wasn't God's plan to have children, instead of longing for something that you always missed or something you always wanted, which I can contest for. I was always like, okay, I want to have a little girl so bad, and I love her to death. I love her. Someday she's gonna be a matchmaker. But there's also those moments where the reality of it is people are like, oh, you're so blessed you have that child, I'd never had that. But then it's also, there's moments where I can't do as much as I used to be able to do. And it's like you go to that polar opposite effect almost of like, I'm jealous that you can go out and help more people, that now, you feel in a way, in a rewarding manner, that you're basically raising a better human, is the plan in this world, to be a better version of yourself, to go out and spread their wings to other people. And, children, or people, not children, people that look at children to fill a void, either missing in a relationship or they think it's going to be better once they have children, are all the wrong reasons to have kids.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that you have to go in with the same mindset. And people say, oh, they might change their mind. Do not do this. If we know this is matchmakers matching people together, if one person wants children, the other person does not want children, they are not a match. They're not
compatible for the future.
Yeah, do not try and change that. And I say that because I see it so much, like people in their early 30s getting divorced because they're not on the same page as children. And that is not only the benefit of working with a matchmaker, but also just on these podcasts to listen and really think, have I had just been talking to one of my friends and said, hey, so I know that you're really happy and you're dating this person, and so on and so forth. And I guess this is where the matchmaker in me comes in. I'm like, but have you talked about your future goals? Does he want children? Does he want marriage? What does that look like to him? She was like, yeah, we've touched on it. We've touched on it all. He's really looking forever, but we haven't touched on the child thing. And I was like, well, you need to do that like yesterday. And she's like, well, it can come over time. No, if your main goal is to have children, which I know hers is, if her main goal is to have children and she's dating with intention, then you need to make sure that person aligns with you. Yes, can someone change their mind? Maybe, yes, that it can happen, but do never Never, ever, ever go into a relationship thinking it's going to be forever if you guys are on different pages about children.
It's so true.
And
I think it's
hard as it can be as well.
And I think it's so important when we come to the children topic. Like, I swear to this day, my parents, 55, and I say this all the time, 55 years of successful marriage. It's because they spent 10 years selfishly knowing each other, building that foundation, traveling, having this time together, so that then by the time they brought children into it, they were that much more in love with each other and they knew it. Now, maybe you don't have 10 years. Maybe you're on that biological clock journey and, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need to find this person. I was once there. It didn't lead to the results of what I had hoped for. So I always tell everybody, throw that clock out. It is so much more important to choose the right person, because at the end of the day, we love all of our clients as if they're our children. So I always said I wanted a big family. Well, I got it, because our entire team,
no kidding,
along with all of our amazing clients that literally become family and children through this journey, and we watch them grow into these successful relationships. It's like having them go off to college, and then it's like sad because they leave us someday, but yet we're still with them because we care. But it's literally, you come up with whether your blessing is to have children because you want them, or your blessing is to give the gift of being like a parent to others or a mentor. Equally, they are different, but they are equally rewarding. And so when we talk about this,
children aren't in your path either.
Yeah. And to talk about whether it's like, if somebody says, do you want children or do you not want children? Like, have an explanation of why you feel the way that you do, and spend time thinking about it. Don't go into it just assuming that, this is what children are like. I've got to have a family by this. I'm going to do this, following the routine of everybody else, because ultimately God has the plan for you and the gift of whatever that is in the perfect timing. But choosing the right mate is number one, for the sake of the child, for the sake of whatever's ahead. And
you're going to be with them forever, as unfortunately your children is going to outgrow your children, whatever it may be, will outgrow their nest.
Yes. Like I always say, and we'll close on this, is at the end of the day, my parents always, I said, do you love dad more than me? And they said, well, we love him differently. And because I love your dad is why I love you. So remember that always, that when it comes to this question, choose the right mate, to then everything will blossom from there. Yeah. We love you, and we're going to leave you and hope you have found this beneficial and helpful. Bye.
It's been another great talk on this episode of One True Talks by Renee Richel. I look forward to our next chat. Please write in your questions and comments so I can be sure to talk about whatever it is you want to discuss in our next upcoming episode. Lots of love. God bless. XOXO.